Kennedy Space Center, humanity's gateway to the stars.
What is good, y'all? It is Hanova Kadri coming at you with the first ever episode of the Hour of Joy, the podcast where we cover locales with as little to no bias as possible. So, you guys decided the topic for the first ever episode. I put up a poll on Spotify, and you guys voted for Daniel Larson's second jail arc, also known as the federal arrest. Just a note here on the Hour of Joy, we do not intend to bully or intentionally harm any of the subjects in this show. Please do not go after any of these locales that will be subjected on the Hour of Joy. All we are doing is just documenting the life of these locales, and we at the Hour of Joy do not intend any physical or mental harm. So, with that out of the way, and that very important message out of the way, let's move on with it. All right. Daniel Larson, from the Daniel Larson Wiki, this is about his second jail arc. Remember, this happened on April 30th, 2024, when he was heading to his probation meeting, and the feds were there waiting to arrest him. So it says here that Daniel was arrested on April 30th of 2024 and placed into the Jefferson County Detention Facility. And at this time, the charges against him weren't known. But the listed reason at the time was being courtesy housing for another agency. The next day, he was transferred to Clear Creek County Jail. There, his mugshot was taken. And this looks like straight nightmare fuel. I would show it, but unfortunately, there is no video here on Spotify. Again, it was initially believed that Daniel's arrest was due to multiple probation violations. But, however, in the days leading up to his arrest, he defrauded a Buffalo Wild Wings and admitted to viewing child P word that I can't say on Spotify. But according to a call he made to Clark, Daniel was arrested for the several boom threats that he had made over the years. And these were backed by documents that Daniel had been charged. 7 counts of threats, which carried a maximum sentence of 65 years. Now, Daniel had already been arrested 4 times prior to this arrest, making this federal arrest the 5th time he has been arrested in 2024 alone. And the most recent of which, he was arrested 28 days before this arrest. Right now, Daniel is being held at no bond, and there is a possibility he will never be granted bond due to these severe charges. However, his only contact with the outside world has been through phone correspondence. Although he appears to have been revoked these privileges. Additionally, Clark, who had thought to have been apprehended at his job due to the association with Daniel over the previous 10 months. It was soon revealed that he, along with many other members of Daniel's management, were investigated by the authorities, who asked for information regarding the threats that Daniel had made. Initially, Clark officially resigned from being Daniel's manager, and admitted to lying about everything to Daniel. This aforementioned call is speculated to have been the last contact Daniel has had with the outside world. This federal arrest has been one of the most significant events in Larson's life, considering he is currently at risk of being in prison for up to 65 years if he is convicted of every single charge. Many fans see this as finally the end of Daniel Larson, and his plot armor finally breaking. This has been the most publicized aspect of Larson's life so far. Multiple social media accounts and news articles have been covering the situation as it unfolds. This is the longest arc of Daniel Larson being arrested, followed by the November 6th arrest, which we will probably cover in a later video. On May 31st, Daniel was transferred to Inglewood Federal Correctional Institution, and he is currently being held at a mental health facility for being incompetent to stand trial by a judge. And as of this recording, Daniel has remained in custody. Now, this federal arrest can date all the way back to last summer of 2023. A Secret Service agent named Daniel McDougall began to investigate Daniel following the several terroristic threats that he had made, namely one in which he had threatened to blow up the White House. Damn it, I shouldn't have said that. But anyways, this threat in particular came right off the heels of Daniel having a destructive meltdown inside of a Walmart, as well as having his dog snatched from him. Following this, Daniel had multiple meetings with McDougall, including one notable encounter when he met with McDougall and an associate of his. Despite being repeatedly warned by a legitimate Secret Service agent to stop making threats against individuals, businesses, and government agencies, Daniel continued to refuse and make threats, even escalating by making threats against McDougall himself. As a result, a case was building against Daniel, which eventually led to his arrest. Law enforcement interrogated both Clark and members of Daniel's management team to verify the threats he had made over the years. These testimonies proved the final pieces of evidence necessary to arrest Daniel. On April 25th, a federal warrant was issued for Larson's arrest. This was thought to be due to Daniel having violated his probation multiple times, even before the issuing of said warrant. This notion was only exacerbated by the fact that it was only 2 days after this warrant was issued, he was kicked out of a Pump House restaurant by authorities on April 27th. And the next day, he was kicked out of Buffalo Wild Wings after defrauding the restaurant. On the evening of April 29th, Daniel became inactive on every single one of his social media accounts, with his last post stating that he was on the bus back to Boulder. Daniel is well known for making terroristic threats via social media and is speculated to have made over 100 threats alone since 2021. The habit of threat making had appeared to escalate in the weeks preceding his arrest. A prime example of these threats can be seen in the April 6th meltdown, in which Daniel repeated the phrases BOMBU and KILLU, as well as threatening to vandalize several government buildings. Daniel had also made numerous threats against Bob Proctor on his YouTube community tab during this time. And additionally, Daniel threatened to start a mass pugning at a hospital after being kicked out for loitering in January that same year. These threats would not serve him well in the long run, as the Colorado Police Department was slowly building a case against him, charging him with 7 counts of threats, which carries out a maximum sentence of 65 years in federal prison. In the indictment calling for Daniel's arrest, each threat Daniel had made that contributed to his arrest was stated. Most notably, one wherein Daniel threatened to boom a nonprofit organization, which was soon discovered to be the Developmental Disabilities Resource Center, or the DDRC for short, which is a nonprofit organization that helped Daniel attain housing in the past. And while the reason behind this threat is unknown, Daniel's threat leads to the building being evacuated and searched by boom boom sniffing dogs. Now, let's talk more about the arrest of Daniel Larson. Daniel was arrested on the afternoon of April 30th during his probation meeting and was booked straight into the Jefferson County Detention Facility and immediately was found ineligible for bail. His charge was courtesy housing for another agency. He was transferred to Clear Creek County Jail the next day. It was revealed that the FBI was made aware of the threats he had made during the July 3rd Community Tab incident, August 29th meltdown, Christmas Day meltdown, and March 23rd meltdown. We will cover these in a later episode. On May 3rd, Clark, Daniel's former manager, had reported in a Discord server that police officers had shown up at his place of employment, and almost instantly afterward, Clark went offline. It was at first assumed that he had been arrested due to allegedly being accomplice to all of Daniel's previous threats, as well as having alleged contact with Secret Service agents that got Daniel arrested in the first place. This was proven to be false, as it was revealed that Clark had never been arrested. Following hours of silence, Clark had resurfaced on Discord with concerning messages. He had shared that he had been fired from his job for possibly being too drunk, and additionally, he was contacted by Bob Proctor, Daniel's mentor, about Daniel allegedly getting into a fight while being held. This was a revelation nobody knew, as it was thought since the Christmas Day meltdown, Bob had officially severed all ties with Daniel. After being contacted by Bob, Clark had stepped down as Daniel's manager, and in his final calls to him, he admitted to Daniel that everything he had done up until that point had been fake, and that he would cease contacting him going forward. And shortly after this call was conducted, a final call between Clark and Daniel was made. In text to Clark, Bob stated that Daniel wanted to have a man-to-man talk with Clark. Now, let's talk about the Larson leak phone calls. On May 2nd, Flexburger uploaded a call between Clark and Daniel, though it is likely that this call took place sometime on May 1st, evidenced by leaked audio. Portions of the... Oh, damn it. That's a blooper, guys. I apologize. I had opened up my minimizer window, and it definitely skipped. But anyways, let's go over his time in jail. The first phone call was made on May 2nd. Flexburger uploaded a call between Clark and Daniel, though it is likely that this call took place sometime on May 1st, evidenced by leaked audio. Portions of this audio are removed by a robotic voice saying, "Property of Larson leak." Daniel started off by saying that the police are looking into Bob's financial situation under the suspicion that Bob is committing fraud. Daniel then informs Clark that he has federal court on May the 5th and has acquired a public defender. He later has elaborated that he has been deemed a flight risk, and the judge said that he is one step away from acting on these threats. And Daniel drops a bombshell that the DDRC building, a service for people with developmental disabilities that has served Daniel in the past, had to be evacuated because of his boom threats that he had made. Now, I am going to be playing the property of Larson leak call. I'm going to pause the podcast and get it loaded up. How the fuck do I stop it? Okay, I'm able to share my screen. Alright, I'm going to be playing the phone call for you now, and I'm going to mute my mic while I do this.
Call. Please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number at a private number. To consent to this recorded call, press 1. To disconnect, thank you for using
Property of Larson leak.
You may start the conversation now. Hello?
Jesus Christ, Daniel.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you, bud?
Oh my god. I'm doing okay. The
You-
feds pretty much got me.
The feds got you?
This time the feds got me. And Bob told me that it wasn't going to happen and he didn't believe me. And I went to probation yesterday, and sure enough, the feds were there, and they charged me with 7 counts of threats from the threats that I made.
7 counts
Reported
of
by Clark
threats?
and Associates.
Yep, under federal court.
Holy shit. So this shit.
And not only that, the feds apparently are looking into Bob for his finances, and the feds are also, on top of that, now looking into what might make the real amount that he was getting.
So they think Bob was also committing fraud as well?
They think that he's committing fraud.
Holy shit.
Money through his bank account, or is he giving you cash and you're putting it into your bank? And I said both.
Shit. And why did they take you up to? Are you in?
Property of Larson League.
And something of all places.
What the hell? Yeah, because I missed your call last night because I didn't have my debit card or my credit card with me, and I was like, all right, I'll just have to wait till tomorrow. Everyone said,
Right, don't worry about that.
Okay.
It's okay. I did also talk to the public defender. I have court on Monday.
Okay.
Okay, and it is federal court. They were saying that I'm a flight risk and all the garbage, that they're going to say. Okay. But they're looking at trying to put me in,
Property of Larson
basically
League.
higher security housing.
Jeez.
So it would basically be basic housing, just like if I got released. They're saying that yes, I would be facing prison time if convicted, but my public defender was saying that with me being homeless 5 years and being out cold weather,
Recorded by Clark and
I feel like I'm gonna
Associates.
die and I'm panicking. When I panic, I say things that I don't mean,
True.
and I didn't mean the threat. I don't know how to make explosives, stuff like that. They said that, well, that is true, and that is, I guess, shouldn't have been.
That's perfect to say. I would listen to your public defender because he's 100% right. There's no way you could actually make a bomb or do anything that you said.
Right, and I don't have a violent history like anything like that.
Exactly.
The main concern the judge said is that it's one step away from doing so, and that's their concern. If I get back out, and they're also concerned that if I get back out, I will go back on social media and
Property of Larson League.
right. And that's what the judge said. And you know what? I'm okay doing a little bit of time. I would rather show I'm going to be good, than create more issues, right?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, you did well at your 27 days, so.
Right, all of you. Okay. I'm going to get Grace's number. I'm going to get Tina's. My public defender also said that they were going to reach out to Grace.
Okay.
So they might reach out to you. They might reach out to Grace. But I did tell them that, yes, we are engaged, and they're going to try to reach out to her.
Okay.
Just
Property
because
of Larson
they wanted to let her
League.
know that, I'm okay, and, they wanted to see what she wants as well.
So are the charges like threats against the government or something? Like those?
I guess they're considering calling it interstate threat.
Okay.
They're saying that it's threat and interstate threat.
Jeez.
They're not calling it like terrorist threats. They're not saying anything like that. But they are saying their biggest concern is apparently EDRC. They had to fully evacuate.
Jeez.
Recorded by Clark and Associates.
And after comments you made one time, they had to evacuate the whole building or something.
Yep, and they brought in bomb-sniffing dogs.
Jesus Christ.
Because the ERC gets took which, proves kind of how stupid they are, because they know me so well that, they know I'm not going to do that. It's not kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, why would they even waste their time? They know who you are.
Right. They know who I am. I don't know why they're going to waste their time. And not only that, the FBI is still saying things about you, and not only you, but now Discord server. And I know you're
Property
not
of
even
Larson League.
What were they? Jesus Christ, this is a whole mess now.
Yeah, so the feds are just trying to get me, they're trying to call me crazy when it's no, because this is what I did, and it's happened.
I agree. Why would you lie? And I mean, was it McDougal that picked you up, or was it different Secret Service?
Believe it or not, it was McDougal. And he did actually say that, like, in the end, he doesn't really care that I did threat against him, which, yes, it's a concern, and I shouldn't have done it, you know. But that in the end, that he cared, and he still, you know, because if he cared, he would cut contact. It's kind of just ridiculous, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's like, I guess he's trying to do his job, but then he knows you so well. He knows the threats shouldn't be considered real.
He knows that they're not real threats. And
Property of Larson Lee.
well, you know, like, his concern as well was, like, you have me to stop the first time, I get it.
True.
And I guess that is his point.
He did ask me to stop, saying that I was an actual lawyer before, because I was still a law student, and he did get mad about that. That was a thing that started the whole thing for me.
Well, yeah, and I mean, when you first got contact, right, it was under crazy circumstances. So
Yeah.
people were lying for safety.
True.
At this point, I feel like people need to now tell the truth of what's really going on.
Oh no, I agree. And it's all gonna come out anyway in the trial, so.
Right, and I mean, Tina, because I mean, Daniel McDougal also told me about
Property of Larson Lee.
Tina's comment and said, like, didn't Tina say don't contact Grace anymore? And I'm sitting there going, like, well, that's months ago, years ago. And since then, Tina is now understanding of what's going on.
Jeez. So yeah, that Instagram comment from a while ago.
But anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call you back
Okay.
tomorrow. Okay? We might need to figure out a way to put money on my books.
Okay, I can help with that.
Property of Larson Lee.
All right, and that was the call made between Clark and Daniel on May 1st. I unfortunately could not hear on my end. It was pretty quiet, but I am going to go over the Hour of Joy re-recording. I'm recording this on the 25th of August right now, so I'm going to go over it before I post it officially. And hey, we're actually going to put up a poll on screen. Do you think Daniel will end up retaining his plot armor? Do you think he isn't actually going to go to prison? We're going to put a poll on Spotify and let me know what you guys think. Anyways, back to the Daniel Larson wiki. I'm verbally citing all the source that I am using for this. Anyways, second phone call from Larson League. From a video posted by Larson League Raw on the 12th of May, 2024, also featuring Kusari. On the phone call from the 6th of May was leaked. This call is the most serious out of all of them. This call contents contain Clark revealing everything to Daniel, from his UCLA classes being fake to Clark not actually being a lawyer or a manager of his. This occurred after management as well as Clark were interrogated by the police due to their involvement with Daniel. Clark elaborates that, due to Daniel, he had lost 2, and possibly, jobs due to him, and that this call to Daniel was the most important call of his life. While speaking to him, Clark does not give Daniel much room to speak, and it can be heard how shocked Daniel is. Now, I'm going to be playing the second phone call for you, and I will stay muted.
George Town of all places.
On April 30th, 2024, Daniel Larson's life was forever changed. A sudden communication blackout from Daniel to his management team signaled that something was awry. A call with his manager, Clark, would confirm the gravity of the situation.
Oh my god. I'm doing okay. The feds pretty much got me.
The feds got you?
This time the feds got me. I went to probation yesterday, and sure enough, the feds were there, and they charged me with 7 counts of threats from the threats that I made.
7 counts of threats?
Yep, under federal court.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So this shit.
The tone in their voices make it clear. This was not no ordinary arrest or incident. The implications were major. The violence and threats in question originated from one of Daniel's notorious YouTube channels, and for legal reasons, we cannot show the full posts, but they have been reposted multiple times on Reddit. Consisting of explicit threats and self-incriminating admissions, these posts raised grave concerns among viewers. Law enforcement surprisingly reached out to members of Daniel's management team requesting proof of his threats. Members promptly provided the gruesome posts, ultimately giving officials the final piece of evidence needed to arrest Daniel. It turns out issuing threats against the White House, police stations, family members, and more is never really a smart move. Daniel now faces severe federal charges for these threats. And when the indictment was revealed, fans knew the end was drawing near, as did his management team. If you've followed Daniel's story, you know he had a quote-unquote management team for years, groups of trolls who pranked and fed him misinformation, which his gullible nature led him to believe. If you've watched the Daniel Larson files, you're aware that a relentless individual named Clark has been managing him. Larson Leak interviewed Clark back in December.
He's gonna get what's coming. A couple of my really close friends will say, yeah, like you're weird or whatever, but then there's always that one, I don't know if you guys have the same thing, but there's always that one girl that likes Daniel that's just like hot as fuck.
Fearing Daniel could be transferred somewhere unreachable, a pivotal decision loomed. The management team that had been trolling him for a staggering 9 months decided it was time to come clean. Daniel would have to confront the reality that his fantasy world was never authentic. On May 6, 2024, Clark, Daniel's longtime manager, made one final phone call, revealing the truth about everything. I present to you the final moments of Daniel Larson.
Up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To consent to this recorded call, press 1.
Hello?
Okay, Daniel, I need you to listen completely for the next 10 minutes, and I need to talk to you, okay? I need you to not interrupt me, and I need you to be fucking serious right here, because this is probably the only time, it's one of the most important things I'm ever going to tell you. All of this has been, it's fake, man. I mean, I'm not Clark. I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for Interscope. Grace doesn't want to talk to you. There isn't Grace. The only reason Grace knows you is because she thinks either you're a predator and creep, and the only time you've ever talked to Tina was because she was telling you to back away. I mean, it hurts to say UCLA was fake, Interscope was fake. Every single thing that we did, it was fake. I mean, none of that was real, Daniel. I mean, and I can't keep leading you on here. And to be honest, you do need to learn your lesson. And I know we've acted like friends for the past 9 months, but really you're a sick guy, man. And I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. And I would see you send those to 15-year-old Sky Brown, say your things. You need to get some help. And I've been recording everything. We even worked with McDougall for a while, and I'm done. Like it's over, man. There isn't anything else to say. I've been lying to you. I've been faking fucking everything. Grace doesn't even know if she knows who you are, she thinks you're a weirdo. And yeah. I mean, and I get some circumstances, but at the same time, you really are a menace to the streets of Colorado. I'm a 20-year-old kid from St. Louis in community college, and I know literally nothing. So I am going to say I won't be answering any more calls anymore. This is probably the last time we'll ever talk. But you don't. That's the thing, Daniel. You keep convincing yourself, Grace and all that. It's not, she doesn't want you. Like, I've never talked to her in her life. How do you think all our calls end up on the internet too? Like, I mean, you're fucked, and it's over, you know? I'm sorry. Not really at the same time, because this has been the fucking weirdest 10 months of my life, and I've had to been talking to a pretty much pedophile for that whole time while also hurting my image. I even got fired from my fucking job in real life for this, Daniel. So, no, I'm in the middle of the most important call of my life right now.
To be honest, I kind of knew that you were and that's why I kept questioning everything.
You can hear Daniel speechless, sighing over the phone as Clark breaks the devastating news to him. Without allowing Daniel much chance to express his feelings, Clark abruptly hung up. The call lasted 16 minutes, but mainly consisted of Daniel's muffled responses as Clark repeated himself. Other management members felt Clark should call Daniel again to properly hear him out, but it might have been too late. The following day, when one more call was scheduled, Clark went radio silent. After hours of silence, Clark resurfaced with concerning messages in the Discord group. He shared a screenshot of a text from Bob Proctor that read, "Daniel wants to talk to you. He says he got in a fight. Sorry for the intrusion." It appeared Daniel had gotten into an altercation with other inmates, and everyone urgently wanted Clark to call Daniel immediately, but he didn't comply. Clark later revealed he had just gotten fired from his job for being quote-unquote too drunk. With the Lore's finale in his grasp, Clark ghosted the group, leaving other members stranded without warning. After attempting to persuade Clark to redo the final call, he reluctantly agreed.
Recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number. To consent to this recorded call, press 1. To disconnect, press. Thank you for using Securus. You may start the conversation now.
Hello?
Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Okay, so
Sorry, before you say anything, I want to tell you that I am extremely sorry, and I want to try to fix our friendship.
I mean, it's not just, I feel like you have a lot of people to say sorry to, mostly, not just me, more like Bob and the restaurants and all the people that, even Grace, in a way, for tormenting her and her family for the past couple years.
I agree, and I will take the blame, but I want to fix everything. You know, we all make mistakes, and, you know, we all make mistakes, and it's how we move forward, no matter. Right? And it's how we make progress.
I agree, and I know that Bob's been talking to you recently, so I hope you said sorry to him and everything, because I'm surprised he's even still talking to you after everything that went down.
I understand. And, you know, with Grace, I also understand what you said about it.
And that starts with me being honest, too, and I regret even all the fake Graces and all that. Yeah, that wasn't right to do for Grace, too, because I don't know her in real life. And I know she was probably not happy with people pretending to be her for the past couple years. So that does start with us, too. But, I mean, the way you took it was a little too far in some ways. And, I mean, and I do think...
I do agree.
Yeah.
You know, we've been in contact for so long now. You know what I mean? I want us to be friends.
I mean, you do understand everything I told you, though, in the last call. Like, all of this has been pretty much made up. I know it's hard for you to know, but you got to realize that before the trial, before they think you're crazy.
Right, and, I agree.
I mean, and
And I do have to say that I do kind of know what my public defender is going to ask tomorrow, but I don't know if they're going to approve it this time or the next court date. But I do know that we're...
Okay, I'm very sorry for pausing the call, like, right in the middle of it. But I do gotta mention something, like, Clark kind of literally predicted the future. Because he says he has to realize all this before the trial, before they think he's crazy. Technically, he's deemed incompetent to stand trial. So, yeah, I kind of had a feeling Clark kind of predicted that. But anyways, I will share my final thoughts on this. After the call is finished, there is about 3 minutes left. I am going to remute.
Progress.
okay, well, I think this was a good conversation, but everything starts with a couple sorries here and there. Do you have anything that you want to say to, like, everybody out there? Like, because I'm guessing people are going to get these phone calls through that. So you should, if you want to explain yourself to everybody on Reddit.
What I want is an apology to the entire fan base, and not only his fan base, but I want, an apology going out about the meaning of the phone call, stuff like that.
And just everything, even Sky.
Like literally everything at this point. If we go into detail, it's going to be way too much right now.
True.
You know what I mean? And we're on a timed phone call with, money going through. I'm to a point to where, I want to try to fix this with everything, and I want the real truth to be heard.
And the truth will be heard, Daniel. So I got to go, but I'm out. See ya. Clark out.
That may have just captured Daniel's final moments of outside contact. These charges appeared dire, marking the end of potentially all of this, the whole entire story, the end of Daniel Larson. I'm Kusari. I want to thank Flexburger for having me read this for you guys. It's really awesome being able to work on projects with the community. So, you guys can check out my channel and all that. You know where to find me. You can support Larson League and stay updated by following their social media links on screen. They've been dealing with a lot of impersonators lately, especially on TikTok. Not going to name any names, but fuck you, dude. So their official accounts are listed in the description. All right, peace.
Okay, I don't think there's much. I just expected that to be like a Larson League phone call, like the last thing, but it wasn't. It was kind of like a phone call and mixed with some commentary. But, yeah. My final thoughts. Things are not looking good for Daniel. If he is convicted of all these charges, which it looks like he will be because of the, even though that I doubt he would carry through with these threats, still, you never know what Daniel is capable of. So I think him being off the streets for now was a smart decision by the FBI. But hey, let's move on. Alright, this describes the final phone call. Daniel called Clark for the final time on May 9th of 2024, as we had just heard. Clark reluctantly agreed to do this after former members of Daniel's management convinced him to do so. And considering Clark's unwillingness to speak with Daniel after this call, this is most likely the final time Daniel will have contact with the outside world. Now, let's move on to Daniel Larson's charges. As we have mentioned before, he is currently facing 6 counts of use or threatened use of explosives, and 1 count of interstate communication of threats each. Use or threatened use of explosive charge carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in federal prison. The interstate communication of threats charge could tack on another 5 years to his sentence. And based off of all 7 charges, if he is convicted, Daniel Larson could face up to 65 years in prison. It is difficult to accurately estimate the fines that Daniel may have to pay, as they range quite substantially. And on July 17th, 2024, a user of Reddit that 4 charges were dropped, all being the use or threatened use of explosive charges, reducing his maximum possible sentence to 25 years. Now, let's move on to the court appearances and legal proceedings. Now, as mentioned in the calls with Clark, Daniel was assigned a public defender due to him not having the funds and means to obtain an actual lawyer. His attorney was soon to be identified as Jared Scott Westbrook. According to Daniel, his public defender is attempting to argue that Daniel could have not carried out any of his threats as he lacked the resources to do so. Therefore, he should have been released. On May 10th, right before Daniel's court hearing, documents were found that detailed Daniel's public defender was introducing a motion for Daniel's immediate release. However, this motion, along with one filed the day before, were both denied by the judge. These documents requested that Daniel be outfitted with an ankle tracker and placed under mandatory mental health treatment. This document also mentions placing Daniel into a halfway house, where he would presumably stay if he were to come out of jail, which has not happened yet. And as of June 29th, this motion has still been left unresolved. Now, let's talk about the May 10th court appearance. Daniel had appeared in court for an arraignment on May 10th, 2024, and pleaded not guilty to all of his charges. And due to his non-guilty plea, Daniel was not released from jail, and he was given a new trial date set to July 15th, which was stated that in the order of detention following the trial, that according to Bob, Daniel stated that nothing was accomplished following the hearing's conclusion. In text to Clark, Bob tells him that he would be held until a mental health evaluation was conducted, which Daniel has already failed. And additionally, Bob stated that Daniel says that his appearance got leaked, although it is unclear as to what Daniel meant by this. Now, after the court hearing, the judge, Norman Reed Newrider, issued an order of detention that confirmed that Daniel would, in fact, remain in jail after pleading not guilty, as well as the judge demanding that Daniel complete a mandatory mental health evaluation. And this order of detention also touches upon Daniel's request to be released. Now, let's talk about the May 27th docket report. On this date, a docket report was issued detailing all of what happened up to that point during Daniel's incarceration. In addition, a docket from May 23rd ordered Daniel to have a mental health evaluation, and his July 10th and 15th court dates were canceled, and he is undergoing an evaluation at a mental health facility. Now, let's talk about the transfer that happened on May 31st. On May 31st, Daniel was transferred to a correctional institution called Englewood Federal Correctional Institution, which is also the same facility where convicted sex offender and kitty diddler Jared Fogle is being held after serving out his sentence for 15 years. Now, let's talk about the competency report back from Daniel Larson. Now, a psychiatric report was filed on July 19th, 2024, and in this report, it is revealed that Daniel was deemed incompetent for trial, and he would be institutionalized in an unknown mental health facility in hopes of being evaluated. He is staying in here until September 23rd, and that is his future competency hearing. Ladies and gents, that is the second jail arc. Now, huge shout out to the Daniel Larson Wiki for providing all of this information for the Hour of Joy. And guys, several more episodes of Hour of Joy are to come. All sources will be cited in the description below. There's only one source, let's admit it. And hey, If you came here from TikTok, thank you for at least checking out the Hour of Joy. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and hearing about Daniel Larson's federal arrest. Remember to answer the poll if you think Daniel Larson's plot armor will be retained or not. Anyways, catch y'all on the flip side. Peace out, y'all.